Bro, let's talk about something most guys don't even realize is happening to them every single day. Something subtle, psychological, powerful. Once you see it, you'll understand why some guys chase endlessly while others get chased, without doing or saying much at all. It's called the Zeigarnik effect, a psychological principle that's low-key running the show behind the scenes of human memory and obsession. It basically means this: we remember things that are unfinished far more vividly than things that are complete. If something's unresolved, left hanging, your mind won't drop it. It replays it, loops it, obsessively tries to finish what was never finished. Now take that and apply it to attraction. Imagine what happens when you become the unfinished thought, the moment that didn't wrap up, the interaction that never quite closed. You don't say everything, you don't explain yourself fully, you don't give her the closure she's used to, and that's when her mind starts doing the work for you, wondering, replaying, trying to decode what you meant, where it was going, why it stopped. That's the beginning of the mental hook. See, women are deeply emotional, yes, but more than that, they're narrative driven. They think in stories. They assign meaning. They revisit memories and fill in gaps with imagination. So when you give her a clear, clean, emotionally finished interaction, her brain closes the loop, categorizes you, moves on. But if you end things mid-story, right when the vibe is rising, if you leave just enough unsaid, if you pull back right before it peaks, now she's stuck in the loop. Her imagination kicks in. She starts wondering what could have happened next, and that wondering? Alright, let's cut through the noise and get real for a second. When a woman plays hard to get, it's not just a game, it's a test of control. She's not trying to reject you outright, she's trying to flip the dynamic, to get you to chase, to make you prove yourself, to see if you'll overinvest, explain yourself, try too hard, and that's where most men fall flat. They walk right into the trap, they start performing, bragging, justifying, texting too much, being consistent in a way that screams desperation, not strength. But what she's really waiting for, what actually gets under her skin, isn't more effort, it's not more words, it's the shift in your energy. She wants to feel something she can't name, something unresolved, something that lingers in the background like a song she can't get out of her head. And when you pull away, right when it's getting good, when you break the emotional rhythm on purpose, you create that exact effect. You disrupt her nervous system. You become the thing she didn't expect, the loop she didn't get to close. Picture it. You're in the middle of a great conversation. She's laughing, she's vibing, the momentum's building fast. Most guys would lean in harder, ride the wave, push for more, but not you. You understand that pulling back at the peak is where the magic happens. So instead of pushing forward, you ease out. You drop a line like, you know what? I'll save the rest of that story for another time. Or with a smirk, you're actually pretty fun to talk to. I'm gonna bounce before this gets too interesting. Boom. That one move changes the entire frame. You didn't just have a conversation, you planted a seed of curiosity. You ended the moment mid-chapter. You didn't give her the resolution she's used to. And now, instead of being just another interaction in her day, you're the one her mind keeps circling back to. Why? Because the moment didn't end, it paused. And that pause creates tension. And that tension, that's where attraction quietly takes root. Quick break. Close your eyes for a second. Picture her, the girl you've always wanted. Feel what it would be like to actually have her. Now open your eyes. Because here's the truth, right now, you're invisible to her. You're getting outcompeted by guys with more money, better looks, higher status, and stronger game. You're playing a rigged game, and you're losing. But I've spent the last 35 years mastering this, studying, testing, and finally finding the secrets to get the girls I always wanted. You want to stop getting ignored? You want her chasing you? Then you need to wake up and act. Click the link in the comments if you are truly committed and take the first step toward becoming that guy. Few spots left. Be fast or miss out your last chance to make her yours. Let's get back to it. That's the Zeigarnik effect in action, the brain's obsession with unfinished experiences. Now, apply that same principle to texting. Most guys kill the tension before it even builds. They text back instantly, write long explanations, and over-communicate in the name of clarity. They spell everything out, trying to be understood, thinking that if they're clear enough, she'll stay interested. But that's not how emotion works. That's not how attraction works. You, on the other hand, move differently. You respond with energy, with presence, but then you pull back, mid-thread, mid-thought, mid-moment. Not ghosting, not ignoring, just leaving the loop slightly open. You give just enough, then disappear before the resolution comes. And now she's staring at her phone, rereading your messages, wondering what she missed, wondering why you stopped, what you're thinking, what she said. You've created a gap, and gaps are powerful. Gaps breed curiosity. Gaps breed obsession. Because here's the truth. Women don't remember exactly what you said. They remember how you made them feel. And when you leave things open-ended, when you trail off right before it peaks, you create emotional suspense. Not confusion, suspense. That delicious kind of tension that lingers in her chest and keeps her looping the interaction in her mind. It's not about being manipulative. It's about understanding emotional pacing. When you always rush to resolve, to reassure, to explain, you remove the friction, you remove the mystery, you give her a clean, finished story, and her mind has no reason to return to it. But when you leave the door slightly open, when you don't say everything, when you let silence do the talking, you make yourself unforgettable. But when you're incomplete, when you leave just before the moment closes, when your presence fades before the full picture forms, something powerful happens. Her questions don't get answered, her emotional thread doesn't tie off, and suddenly, without realizing it, you're living in her imagination. You're no longer just a guy she met. You've become a character in her internal narrative, and the mind, it can't leave a story half finished. She replays the moment again and again, rewinds your last words, rethinks your silence, redecodes your tone, and with every mental replay, the emotional imprint deepens. That's how obsession begins. Not with loud effort or obvious charm, but with quiet, lingering mystery. That's how women start texting first, not because you dazzled them, but because you disrupted them. You left something open. You created emotional tension without trying to control it, and that's magnetic. Here's the beautiful paradox. This works best on the women who think they're immune to it, the ones who are used to being chased, who are used to controlling the rhythm with their beauty, their silence, their cold, calculated plays. These are the women most men try to impress, beg for validation, or chase to exhaustion. But not you. You don't fall into their script, you flip it. When you use the Zeigarnik effect on a woman like that, when you flirt and then pull back, when you start a story and leave it unfinished, when you create emotional heat and walk away mid-spark, you hit her where she's not used to being touched, her ego, her pattern, her control, and suddenly, the girl who had guys orbiting her for months is watching your stories, is texting late at night, is thinking about you while sitting across from someone else. Why? Because you became the one thing in her carefully curated, emotionally managed life that she can't resolve. But let's make something clear. This isn't about playing games. This is about frame control, emotional discipline, mastery. It's about knowing when to stop speaking, when to walk away mid-spark, when to pull back just enough to let her imagination fill in the blanks. The Zeigarnik effect isn't manipulation, it's precision, and the man who uses it right isn't avoiding connection, he's guiding it. Most men fear silence, they fear mystery, they fear being misunderstood, so they over-explain, over-validate, over-share, hoping she'll like them more, but that's not strength, that's emotional fragility wrapped in performance. A strong man, he's comfortable letting her wonder, comfortable with being a little unknown, comfortable with letting her feel that stretch of uncertainty, because he knows that tension pulls harder than any compliment ever could. Curiosity outlasts clarity. Intrigue outperforms information every time. And here's the real kicker. It doesn't just work in the early stages of attraction. It keeps working. It evolves. The longer you know her, the more predictable you become, unless you understand how to become emotionally incomplete again. When you inject subtle mystery into a long-term connection, you reignite her feminine fire. You bring back the chase. You stop being the man who answers every text right away. You stop explaining every mood, every move, every plan. You start introducing slight unpredictability, not distance, not neglect, just enough space for her to reach, just enough silence for her to lean in. And that changes everything, because now you're no longer just the man she has, you're the man she's still trying to understand. That's how you stay unforgettable. That's how you keep her curious, invested, emotionally stirred, not just for days or weeks, but for years. You don't fade, you don't flatline, you become a story she can't stop reading. One of the deadliest mistakes men make, especially with women who play hard to get, is believing that effort alone will win them over. It won't. In fact, effort can backfire, because these women aren't impressed by consistency. They're not moved by logic. They're not craving another man eager to prove himself. What they're truly searching for, consciously or not, is mental stimulation, a psychological riddle they can't quite solve, a man who leaves them with more questions than answers. Hard to get? That's not just behavior, that's theater. It's a script designed to weed out the men who don't understand emotional polarity. And most guys, they play right into it. They try harder, text longer, compliment more. They think, if they're sincere enough, clear enough, available enough, she'll finally let her guard down. But she won't, because what she really craves is tension, ambiguity, a taste of something she can't fully consume, a man who disrupts her expectations, a man who creates emotional friction, then disappears right before it resolves. That's what keeps her hooked, that's what keeps her spinning, and that's where your discipline becomes the most dangerous weapon in your arsenal. See, the average man can't handle uncertainty. He panics when she pulls away, he double texts, he confesses too soon, he pours out his thoughts thinking vulnerability equals intimacy. But the master, the one who understands the Zeigarnik effect, he doesn't flinch. He leans into the silence. He knows how to say just enough, then vanish. How to build the momentum, then let her sit in it. Because he's not looking for comfort. He's not chasing control. He's playing a deeper game. One where incompleteness becomes the hook. One where the pause becomes the pull. One where space becomes seductive. He doesn't need to convince her of his worth. He lets her feel it in his absence, in her own emotional chaos, in the unclosed loops he left echoing in her head. And that limbo, that invisible aching suspense, that's not weakness, that's power. Look at how women react to great books, unforgettable movies, or haunting songs. They don't just consume the story, they obsess over it. They talk about it days later, weeks later, sometimes years later. Why? Because the meaning wasn't handed to them on a silver platter. It wasn't neatly wrapped up or spelled out. Instead, they had to think, to guess, to feel deeply, to wrestle with ambiguity and fill in the blanks themselves. Now, imagine if you became that kind of experience for her. Don't rush to give her a neat summary of who you are. Don't hurry to resolve every conversation or explain every feeling. Instead, become a symbol in her life, something with emotional weight, but no simple, clear definition. Let your silences speak louder than your words. Let your pauses become puzzles she can't stop trying to solve. Let her mind build a story around you, piece by mysterious piece. This isn't about manipulation, it's about invitation. Invitation into mystery, into something bigger than a simple interaction. Most women don't remember the man who gave them closure. They don't replay the conversations that ended cleanly and clearly. What sticks in their mind is the man who left something unfinished, the man who made them feel something new, something unfamiliar, something that won't quit echoing in their thoughts. He's the one who created an open emotional loop in their story. Not the loudest, not the richest, not the most obvious, but the man who walked away mid-sentence, who vanished when the moment peaked, who disrupted her carefully controlled narrative, because disruption is the birthplace of intrigue, and intrigue is the foundation of desire. You don't want to be the guy she remembers with just a polite smile or a casual nod. You want to be the guy who lingers in her mind with a pause, a heartbeat that skips, that subtle mental question that haunts her. Why did he leave it like that? What wasn't said? That's the power of the Zeigarnik effect. the invisible pull that makes you unforgettable. Every day she's flooded with attention, compliments, and validation from countless guys. But emotional suspense? That's rare. It's precious. It's magnetic in a way that no simple hey or endless explanation ever could be. When you master the art of creating this suspense, knowing exactly when to step back, how to say less but mean infinitely more, how to spark curiosity without putting out the fire, you don't just catch her interest, you implant a seed of obsession. Watch closely. When you do this right, she won't just think about you occasionally. She'll replay your words, your silence, your energy over and over. She'll find herself checking her phone more than usual, rereading your last message, wondering what's next. And that's the moment you've been aiming for, not because you chased or pleaded, but because you stayed incomplete. You didn't close the book. You left the story open, the door cracked just enough for her to want to come back and find out more. And here's the secret most guys miss. This isn't about playing games or manipulation. It's about preserving your masculine frame. Instead of giving everything all at once, you become the man who is selective, measured, and emotionally disciplined. You don't need to fill every silence or answer every question right away. You know when to step away, when to let the tension build, and when to leave her wondering. Ambiguity is your weapon. It forces her to step inside her own emotions, to engage her imagination, and to invest in the connection without guarantees. It creates emotional momentum, not through constant effort, but through strategic absence. When you embrace this space, you become the mystery she craves, the unresolved equation she can't stop trying to solve. And that's where real power lies. Not in being available 24/7, not in explaining yourself endlessly, but in mastering the art of emotional leverage. You make her feel the pull without giving away the whole story. You become the experience she wants to chase, not the guy she's already figured out. That's when you become the challenge, the irresistible puzzle she can't put down. That's when her ego and desire collide in a storm of frustration and fascination. She starts asking herself, why can't I figure him out? What's he really thinking? And that question, the tension born from not knowing, is the very thing that makes her think of you long after you've walked away. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and you're still there. In her mind, a mystery unresolved. Make no mistake, this isn't manipulation, it's the restoration of natural polarity. Women are the emotional, fluid, chaotic force, full of feeling, intuition, and flux. Men, on the other hand, are meant to be the grounded, solid, mysterious anchor. When you lose that and start oversharing, over-explaining, or over-expressing, you step into her territory. You become emotional too soon, and that flips attraction on its head. It kills the tension, it kills desire. But when you stay steady, emotionally composed, psychologically elusive, you reignite that primal dance between masculine and feminine energy. She doesn't want the whole story handed to her on a silver platter. She wants to earn it, piece by piece, moment by moment. That's what keeps the spark alive. That's what makes the game thrilling and real. If you truly master this, you'll never need cheesy pickup lines or long-winded texts. You won't have to explain your intentions or validate yourself endlessly. Your energy will speak volumes without a single word. Your discipline, your ability to give just enough, then pull away, will set you leagues apart from every other guy she's ever met. You become the man she wants to unlock, the one she puzzles over late at night, the one she can't help but return to, even when she tries not to. You weren't just another moment in her life. You became the unfinished story she keeps revisiting, the mental loop she never closed. And that's exactly what makes her want you, and only you. Here's the best part. The Zeigarnik effect isn't just a trick for early dating, it's a lifelong weapon. In the early stages, leave your stories half told, your intentions half revealed. In a relationship, be honest, but never completely predictable. Honest without being emotionally exhausting. With an ex, drop a cryptic message, plant a seed of curiosity, then disappear before she gets closure. Master the Zeigarnik effect, and you'll never have to chase again. You'll be the question mark in her mind, the echo she can't silence, the shadow that lingers just out of reach. And when she finally realizes why she can't forget you, it'll already be too late. You won. the man she can't. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If this message resonated with you or gave you something to think about, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. I've got more real talk, growth, and power coming your way, so stay tuned. Also, I offer limited one-on-one coaching for anyone struggling with girls. If that's you, feel free to reach out. We can work through it together and get you results. Take care of yourself, keep rising, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.